Dear participants, I warmly welcome on the behalf of Global Forum for Teacher Educators, Jody Santos, who is over here to conduct the workshop. In the beginning, I would like to request you all to please open your camera for a group photograph. We'll be sending you the group photograph later on. We request you to please open your camera for the group photograph. This photograph will be a token of remembrance from all of us that we are together, united for the inclusivity. All the participants are requested to please open your camera. We request all the participants to open your camera for the next 1 minute. We'll be very grateful to you all. We have a lot of participants, and we are expecting all the participants to open the camera. We will wait for the next 30 minutes, 30 seconds. We are requesting all the participants to open up the camera. So far, around 20 people, we have like 40 people have opened the camera. Wonderful. We request all the participants to open the camera if they can, so that we can have a memorable photograph with one another. Wow, that's great. So let me take photographs one by one in the group. So 3, 2, 1, smile. Please hold on. Let's take another photograph. Please open your camera. 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, one more. Last photograph. I'll not say the last photograph of the century, but the last photograph with all of you. If you still wish to open your camera, please open your camera. And there are 2 groups. So the first group now, wow, Raish is making a heart sign. So 3, 2, 1, smile. Now coming towards the second group for the last photograph. Okay, 3, 2, 1, smile. Great. Thank you so much. The floor is all yours, Jody.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Munir, for that incredible introduction with that video. For those of you who maybe joined late, my name again is Jody Santos, and I'm going to be doing a presentation today on accessible storytelling, particularly as it relates to video. So how do we make our videos as accessible as possible so that they reach the widest possible audience, people who are blind, low vision, deaf, hard of hearing, neurodivergent, non-disabled.
Jody, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. I just saw that, which is not only the right thing to do to make your videos accessible possible to the widest possible audience, but it also makes good business sense. It makes sense if you are somebody who is trying to use video to create change or to convey a certain message. You really want to reach the widest possible audience. So just to be as accessible as possible, I'm going to describe myself, give myself an image description. I am a white, middle-aged woman from the United States, and I have sort of a blonde, brown, shaggy hair, and I am wearing sort of I guess you'd call it a hot pink short sleeve shirt. It's summer here in the US, but not too hot today. And I'm going to share my presentation and then very briefly describe what is on each slide before I talk about it. Also, with this presentation, I tried to make the font as legible as possible, so it's white text against a black background. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. All right. So this first slide says accessible storytelling, making video inclusive for all. The next slide Munir did a great introduction to me, so I'll keep this brief. It says my name, and then there's a photo of me sitting next to a camera, and I'm interviewing a Guatemalan woman in her village, and her daughter is leaning against a wooden structure, and she's watching us. So I'm an associate teaching professor in the School of Journalism at Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. I teach documentary, I teach video production, also disability representation in the media and media accessibility. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of the Disability Justice Project. I formed that organization about 4 years ago. And our mission is to train disabled human rights defenders from Asia, Africa, and the Pacific in documentary storytelling as a way to change the narrative in the countries and the communities where we work. We also are the first platform in the world dedicated to disability rights in global majority nations. And we're one of the organizations at the forefront of advocating for media accessibility, which I'm going to talk about today, and also making the filmmaking process itself more accessible, which we'll talk about in a little bit. An international trainer in narrative change and media accessibility. So I do these types of talks often. And again, what I mean by narrative change is that there are these really destructive dominant narratives about lots of different issues in the world. Some of the ones around disability have to do with what we call the pity and inspiration narratives, which only result in, further marginalization of people with disabilities. So it's how do you tell a story to change that narrative? I'm a human rights filmmaker. I've traveled to over 30 countries producing documentaries for public television. And as it was said in the video, I'm the author of the book, Daring to Feel Violence, the News Media and Their Emotions. So it's really challenging the journalistic mandate of objectivity when we cover inherently emotional topics like interpersonal violence and conflict. Okay. So this next slide is really sort of the justification. Why do we need to think about making our videos accessible? We know that 1 to 1.3 billion people in the world are disabled. If we break that down even further, 430 million are deaf or hard of hearing, according to the World Health Organization, 2025, and 338 million are classified as having a vision-related disability, according to WHO 2020. And then there are two images, international images of access. One is white hands signing against a blue background, and the other is a black silhouette of a blind woman using a cane to navigate. All right, this next slide says beyond accessibility. So as I was saying before, making your videos accessible goes beyond accessibility. It's also good business sense. And it's also, if you want to reach and cultivate the widest possible audience, then you need to think about putting captions on videos. Because we know, for instance, with social media that most people scroll in public or quiet places during their commute, at the office, which makes silent playback with captions preferable. On Facebook, around 74 to 85% of video views occur without sound. And there are similar statistics again across all types of social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok. Television, close to 40% of Americans prefer to watch TV with the captions on, and a trend that's even more pronounced among adults under 30. And then there are just some social media icons on the right, a love button, a like button, and a comment bubble. So again, it's really about reaching the widest possible audience. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is accessibility for blind and low vision audiences. And the main way that you do that is with something called audio descriptions. Maybe some of you have watched a video with audio descriptions before, but it's basically there is a narrator who is describing the images and the action as they're happening. So this slide features a photo of my friend and colleague, Jason Struther. He's an American journalist with low vision, and he's also a trained audio description writer. And so a couple of years ago, Jason traveled to coastal South Asia and he did a documentary on the impact of climate change on people with disabilities. And so what I wanted to do was to play the trailer to that. And the first time I'll play the trailer without the audio descriptions. So if you are blind or low vision, maybe you can give us some feedback in the comments. How easy was that to understand? And if you're not blind or low vision, um, close your eyes or imagine that you are, and how easy would it be to understand what is happening um, in uh, in Jason's trailer? So I think I'm going to stop sharing because I may not have selected play with audio. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to share for sound and optimize for video. Okay, I'm going to go back in. All right. So this is Jason's trailer without audio descriptions, and then I'll play it with audio descriptions.
Climate change is impacting all of us now, everyone. People with disabilities get impacted the most.
When it comes to evacuation and sheltering and providing disaster response mechanisms, often persons with disabilities tend to get left behind.
When we talk about accessibility, it is invisible for people without disabilities.
All right, so I'll just play a little bit of that. Impressions, thoughts? How easy would that be able to comprehend for somebody who is blind or low vision without audio descriptions, without somebody describing what's happening in the video? Maybe you can put a little couple of thoughts in the chat. Or you can just unmute yourself. Anyone?
Just to clarify, Jody, so the question is, are you asking how accessible would the video be for a person with who's blind, essentially?
Exactly.
Who's visually impaired?
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, I think it would be, I mean, reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, good. In the comments, really hard to imagine. It would be very difficult to understand the content. Right. And I think you can sort of get the gist of it, but you don't know what the visuals are that go with it. Right. So a volunteer's carrying a disabled person. Right. That's exactly the kind of audio description that you would want in the video so that the whole thing comes together, the organic whole, not just what people are saying, but also what's happening in the video. So just for the sake of time, I'll play a little bit of the next slide. Hold on, I'm going to go on. So this is audio described. I'll just play 30 seconds to a minute of it so you can get a sense of the difference. So this is Jason describing his own video.
Words appear. A Lens 15 media production. A coastal city. Text. Coastal South Asia faces stronger storms, floods, and sea level rise as the Indian Ocean warms, according to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change.
Climate change is impacting all of us now, everyone.
A folded wheelchair rests against a beach shack.
People with disabilities get impacted the most.
Various people crawl, use canes, sit in mobility devices, and are carried by others.
When it comes to
So that's the difference. And there's a lot of debate about how much audio description is too much, how much is too little. So obviously Jason didn't describe everything, but he described what he felt were the essential parts so that people could comprehend the video as a whole.
Words appear.
So just a couple of basics about creating audio descriptions. You want it to fit between dialogue, so you don't want to interrupt what somebody is saying with audio description. You don't want spoilers. You don't want to describe something that hasn't been explained in the video. You don't need to describe things 2 or 3 times. Once is enough. You want an appropriate voice actor. I use people from the countries where the video is based. I think that's important, that it's culturally appropriate, that the pronunciations are according to the country, again, where the video is happening. The narration matches the tone. If it's a serious video like Jason's, then it's a little bit more of a serious tone. And most important is that you want to ask people how they want to be described. And this is true whether you're talking about describing somebody in a photo or describing somebody in a video. So, for instance, in the US, disability rights and disability justice groups tend to prefer what we call identity first language. So they want to be described as disabled people. They feel that's an essential part of their identity. In the countries where we work, in Asia, Africa, and the Pacific, a lot of disability rights groups prefer person first language. So a person with a disability versus the disabled person. I did a workshop with a group of activists from 4 countries in Africa, and one of the participants from Rwanda was adamant that she wanted to, and that we had to use person first language. That in Rwanda, particularly for people with psychosocial disabilities after the genocide, that they had fought so long to not be seen as just a disability, that they really felt that the person first language was critical. So that's a big piece, whether you're doing image descriptions or video descriptions or audio descriptions, is how does the person want to be described? Thank you for the comments. Yeah. Identity first, right? Individual choice. It is absolutely an individual choice. Here's a comment: when comparing the 2 videos, additional comments is wonderful and can see the value in it, but I feel it can potentially overwhelm. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that is so it. And I talk about that in a little bit if we have time. Yeah, it's just like, so, you can have captions, audio description, sign language interpretation in one video. And I've seen it, and it is way too overwhelming. So, what I recommend is one version with audio descriptions, one version with captions, and one version with sign language interpretation. But it is a lot to absorb. And I guess, the big point is there is no official roadmap, right? Just like there's no roadmap how somebody prefers to be described, there's no official roadmap. We're all trying different things and getting feedback. And I've tried things, and some people have like really not liked it and been very critical, and other people are like, I love this. Thank you so much for doing it. So this is, it's an emerging field for sure. All right, so moving on, accessibility for deaf, hard of hearing audiences. So this has to do with captions and also with sign language interpretation. So this is a screenshot from a documentary I did on the impact of climate change on disabled Indigenous Pacific Islanders. In the left is a sign language interpreter in a little white box. He's interpreting. And then there's on the right is a Fijian woman. She's in a wheelchair and she's sort of up against her sink and she's drinking water. So for deaf and hard of hearing audiences, the first thing to think about is captions. So at the Disability Justice Project, we caption not just dialogue, but also sounds and music. So we want to describe for deaf, hard of hearing audiences, what does the music sound like? If there is thunder, we want to be able to convey that to deaf and hard of hearing audiences. So I'm just going to play a little piece of this. This is from a video that we did. So we went to the Pacific, we traveled to Samoa, and we trained 5 Indigenous activists in documentary storytelling. And we used the iPhone as part of the activist storytelling kit. So the iPhone has certain accessibility features, particularly for blind and low vision filmmakers. And so we were trying to get the attention of Apple. And so we made this video. And again, I'm just going to play a little piece of it. But again, we described we caption not just the dialogue, but also the music. So I'll just play a little piece of this.
If you think about it, it doesn't make sense for a blind person to use a camera. But the iPhone has its features where it talks about the right edge, left edge. The voiceover actually says that.
One face near top edge. Centered.
And the good thing about it is that you also have the recording features and the things that are all there on the iPhone where you just swipe and double tap.
Camera mode, video, near top left edge.
So it's
So that's just a little bit of a sample of what we do in terms of captioning. And again, you know, there are automatic captioning. So YouTube videos, we know, do automatic captions. TikTok does automatic captions. That's basically using AI to sort of listen to what people are saying and then to spit it out as text. We know that that's not always accurate, so that we want to go in and we want to do that. And so that's usually what we do. If we're doing it on YouTube, we'll let YouTube take a first pass using AI, and then we'll go in and correct it, and we'll add descriptions of also sound and music. And then I'll show you just a little piece of sign language. Whoops. So again, in sign language, we so this is Krishner, and he's using American Sign Language. And on the left, he is signing sound and music, and on the right, he's signing dialogue. So we actually did a little experimentation here where we had two different boxes. Some people loved it. Some people are like, that's way too overwhelming. I can't look left and I can't look right. Just put them in one box, even if it means that you're only minimally describing the sound and the music. So I'll just play a little piece of this.
If you think about it, it doesn't make sense for a blind person to use a camera. But the iPhone has its features where it talks about...
All right, so that just gives you a little sample there. I love Krishner. I always say that he is an artist. I just love the way that he signs. He just adds sort of this dramatic flair. It's just beautiful. And so, you know, for us, since we are, you know, advocating accessibility, all of our videos have audio description. All of our videos have descriptive captions. Not all of them have sign language interpretation. But the sort of the major ones where we're rolling them out at film festivals, they'll have sound language interpretation. Okay, comment. Wonderful, Jody. How far we have come in way of inclusivity. Yeah, absolutely. And so here's the amazing thing in terms of how far we've come, but also how far we're going to travel pretty quickly. I'm going to go on to the next slide here. Is AI. And as we know, there are a lot of good things about AI, and there are a lot of not so good things about AI. AI could definitely take away people's jobs. There's a slide coming up. It talks about sign language avatars. So now AI is able to, again, analyze dialogue and turn it into a sign language avatar, which could take away, you know, the job of somebody like Krishner, who does it so beautifully. AI also can generate audio descriptions. So it can analyze a video and turn those descriptions into from text to voice. So at the Disability Justice Project, we are part of a group that's testing a new app called VidiScribe. So basically, you upload your video, it analyzes it, and it generates audio descriptions. This could make videos more accessible more quickly. because the process of adding audio descriptions means that you have to re-edit the whole video. You have to record it, you have to re-edit it. It can take days. And again, while you know, there's a concern about people's jobs, the hope is that people can be trained in AI, because we can never rely on AI to do it accurately for us. We really need people who are checking it, guiding it, looking for culturally appropriate language. Yeah, I'm just reading the chats and the comments. Okay, all right, all right. Top everything is inclusion and interaction. Yeah. So when I first heard about VidiScribe, I just had a video on my desktop. This is about climate change in Samoa. And I just threw it into VidiScribe just to see how accurate it would be, how it would work. So I'm just going to play a little piece so that you can get a sense of how quickly AI is moving in this direction of audio descriptions, sign language avatars. So I'll just play a little clip here.
A spiral graph tracks global temperatures from 1880. The line's initially a cool blue. As the years progress, the lines transition to light orange, then to a concerning coral red by 2016. Text. The last decade on Earth has been the hottest on record. An animated map of Earth shows temperature anomalies from 1892 to 1890. The map transitions through the years, displaying increasing heat anomalies, with larger areas turning orange and red.
All right, I'll stop it there. So when I threw this into VidiScribe and let AI just generate those audio descriptions, I was absolutely stunned at the accuracy of it. I had really never seen anything like that. So we, as I said, we're testing it. When you test it on a daily basis, it's not so stunning. I mean, you really see sort of the limitations of it and how we will never be able to get away from having AI do everything for us. We always need that human interaction. We always need somebody who is looking at it, rewriting it. But it is pretty amazing. And it's only going to get better, right? As we continue to feed AI information about what's working and what isn't, it's only going to get better. So that's just a little bit about VidiScribe, but I already kind of explained that. And then I talk about other uses of AI, which you're probably already using, automated captions on YouTube. The VidiScribe will actually also do AI in other languages. So talk about, right, accessibility. If all of a sudden I have an audio described video that's available in Indonesian, available, right, in or Bahasa Indonesia in Spanish, now my capacity to reach even wider audiences, to reach global audiences, increases tenfold, 100-fold. And then, as I say here, also virtual sign language avatars. So this is a image of a virtual sign language avatar, and it's a young woman with short dark hair wearing a black button-up shirt. All right, I'm going to show you one thing, and then just one quick thing, and then wrap up with a couple of other things about social media. So we have at least a few minutes for questions. So I'm going to stop sharing. I wanted to at least give you a couple of practical ways that you can be incorporating accessibility into your visuals, into your videos, and into your social media. I will put my information, or maybe somebody could, my email into the chat. So if people wanted to follow up, I do like all sorts of trainings on accessibility all the time. And I also, the Disability Justice also has a WhatsApp group of disabled filmmakers and activists, where we sort of talk about films and journalism related to disability and disability rights and accessibility. Yeah. So if that would be great if somebody could. Thank you so much. So now my email is in the chat, and you can follow up anytime. All right, because I only have a couple more minutes, but I wanted to share just a couple of practical things before we wrapped up. So, and I'm actually doing a workshop on CapCut. If anybody's interested, email me. So CapCut is an online video editing platform, but it's really good at analyzing the text and generating captions. And so a lot of people will like edit their videos on very like professional software, and then they'll throw it into CapCut because it's so great. So this is like a quick, I don't know, 20-second clip. I've thrown it into CapCut. I'm going to auto-generate English, but again, you can see multiple languages here. I don't know how accurate they are because I don't speak most of the other languages that gets auto-generated. But for now, I'm going to generate, but imagine that, right? It's an English video, and you want it to go out to, right? You want to make it accessible to the people in your country. So all you have to do is throw it into CapCut and generate captions for it. So here are the captions. I can go in and I can change them, right? I can, I want to obviously make this like uppercase. This is the start of the sentence. It's World Ocean Day, right? So it's not completely accurate. And then I can choose. And again, you don't want to go sort of like too fancy or wild, but I can choose how I want that text on screen to appear. And it should be pretty basic: white text against black background, black text against yellow background. And then I can export the video. There's also something I just wanted to show you where I can create a transcript, and I can do what's called text-based editing. So for deaf, hard of hearing filmmakers who can't hear the dialogue, they can actually edit within here. If they want to cut something out, they can edit it within the text. So that's just another way that AI is revolutionizing accessibility, filmmaking or editing accessibility and media accessibility really quickly. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to say, one more quick thing before we head out. Let me just go back in because I know we're on a tight deadline. Think about your image descriptions, your alt text, even if you are using images, right, in your social media to make it as accessible as possible. We do video descriptions, so we'll describe what's in the video. Same kind of thing if we're not putting up a video in social media that has audio descriptions. And then for people who use screen readers, make sure you use Pascal hashtags so it makes sense. And all that means is you're capitalizing the first letter of every word in your hashtag, right? So if I didn't, it would be something the screen reader would read it like Rwanda elections. And so somebody who uses a screen reader wouldn't know what that hashtag meant. But if you use Pascal, capitalize the first word, the first letter of every word in your hashtag, that will make it more accessible. All right, I'm going to stop sharing because I know we're close to time. Any questions? And again, honestly, I am really open to hearing from you. So you can email me anytime.
Well, I've just got a comment to say, Jody, I think that was just absolutely wonderful.
Thank
You know,
you.
I'm autistic, and my talk will talk about this a bit more as well. I think your work really sits beautifully with the principles of universal design. So it's really nice to see this, you know, and all of these things are new to me as well. I know the basics, but I've just learned so much more from you. So thank you very much for your input and wisdom.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that means a lot to me. This is really important to me, and that's why I like to do these presentations, and why I really do encourage people to to follow up, because it would be really straightforward for me to be able to do something like this, or to, show you if you are putting videos on YouTube and it's generating the auto captions and you're like, okay, but how do I change it? I could easily show you that as well. Yeah. Yeah,
Dear
absolutely.
participants,
My
the floor
pleasure.
is open. If you wish to ask any question, please open your mic. You can ask the question live. Thank you so much.
And I do know that was a lot in a short amount of time. So it's okay if you're still processing it as well. Yeah.
Dear participants, we have shared the email ID of Jody Santos. In case if you wish to connect with her, please email her. But we have last 2-3 minutes left. If you wish to ask any question, this is an opportunity for you. Please open your mic, open your camera, and come on the floor. Thank you.
Sorry, Jody, I've got one more question for you.
Yeah.
I'm currently, so I teach counseling and psychology, and I'm doing short reels for my classes. So I use CapCut,
Yeah.
or is Caption? I use Captions as an app. But is there any app where I can also include an avatar that signs to what I'm talking about, like a sign language avatar?
I don't think there's an app, and I'm looking at that all the time. I'm sort of tracking
Yeah.
these sign language avatars. I think right now it's paid. I think you have to pay.
Yeah.
And then the other question is it accurate? And so if I were to use it, I would need somebody who understands, let's say, American Sign Language to review it before I did it. But I think, it's interesting. You should try to trademark that idea. An app using a sign language avatar. Right now, it seems to me like, it's a paid subscription, but wouldn't an app be interesting where you could just throw it? I'm sure somebody's working on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Great. Informative, good chat. Yes, thank you. I appreciate your kind words. Thank you. Thank you so much about my delivery. Yeah, I work on that constantly to try to make it so that all audience can understand, because the technology can be complicated. Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Yeah. Great. Good. You're welcome.
Welcome to Global Forum for Teacher Educators. We are human rights educators. Global Forum for Teacher Educators. La 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 la. We are human rights educators. Global Forum for Teacher Educators. La 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 la. We are human rights educators. Global Forum for Teacher Educators. La 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 la.
Dear participants, please